Hello, it's me again. That's right, already. I just put out a video. Now there's a new one. I'm back to having what you'd call an upload schedule. So, did you guys enjoy Summer Game Fest? Is it Summer Game Fest or Games Fest? Let's see here. Summer Game Fest. Okay, I was right all along. Summer Game Fest. Some interesting surprises. A new Aliens game. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love that franchise, even though I think there's been like 2 good games, right? Alien Isolation, and I assume some other one. And yet, I get my hopes up every time. I never learn. I'm like a Sonic fan. Also, what about Starfield, huh? Now, I am a sucker for all things space related. One of the mobile games that I played the most, I must have put some 300 hours into that game, was called Galaxy on Fire 2 on my old ass iPhone. I fought pirates, I unlocked new systems and tech and weapons and all. I loved it. I absolutely love that game. And I love any game that's anything like it. So when Bethesda says that they're making like basically No Man's Sky, but I guess good from the get-go, that seems to be the pitch, right? It's an RPG, a deep RPG with space exploration. And I mean, is it oversimplifying to call it Skyrim in space? It looks like Skyrim in space, right? I never cared for Skyrim. I was the one person who never bought a single version of Skyrim, I think. And they kept trying. Every new console, they're like, okay, maybe Izzy will buy this one. Okay, maybe they put it on the Switch, and still, I didn't buy it. But you make a space-based Skyrim, I'm there. Or, you know what? Maybe I should temper my expectations, because this is Bethesda we're talking about here. Remember the fiasco that was the launch of Fallout 76? You guys remember that, right? I made a video on it, and it's a pretty good one, too. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that when it comes to Bethesda, they've made some good games. I'm not going to deny that, okay? But their list of screw-ups is impressive. I'll refer you back to the fiasco that was the Fallout 76 launch, because it's a juicy story. It looks like every element of that launch was flawed. And it was quite amazing to watch, really. But that isn't the only thing that has gotten me to kind of like, maybe I shouldn't have such high expectations for this game. For instance, how about how Todd Howard says that you're not going to be able to seamlessly land and take off from the planets? I find that immersion breaking. Todd Howard, on the other hand, claims that that's what gamers want. They don't want to be able to fly around in a spaceship, in a space game. Who would want that? No. What people want is a QuickTime event. That's what people love. You point at the planet, you press a button, you're there. You point at the sky, press a button, boom, you're flying. That's what people want in a space game, obviously. It couldn't be because they don't know how to make it work. Even though No Man's Sky had that, even in its broken state, yeah, an indie developer figured this out. Bethesda, for some reason, just can't. Maybe it's kind of like how they couldn't figure out how to make your character climb ladders in Sky. Ever notice how I bet you didn't even know that. Why is that? Because apparently climbing ladders would make the AI go crazy. And that's when I'm like, how does that even work? I'm not a programmer. I understand a little bit about coding, like bare minimum. But for the life of me, I cannot understand how the player character climbing a ladder breaks the NPC's AI. Like, I honestly cannot understand how those two could be connected. Is it that once you're left one level, like on the Z-axis of the map, you go to another one, the NPCs just freak out because they don't know where you are now? Because that's just poor coding, I'm just going to tell you. Lots of developers seem to be able to figure this out, except for Bethesda. But let's say you're still not convinced that a lot of Bethesda's, let's call them creative decisions, stem from them not knowing how to properly code their games. Remember the presidential metro train in Fallout 3? You probably know about this, but that was not a train. That was an NPC with a train for a hat that they would keep under the geometry of the map so you couldn't see the NPC. And they would make the NPC run real fast in between train stations. Apparently, that's how you're supposed to make vehicles in games. You make them regular character models that run real fast with a vehicle for a head. I rest my case. Bethesda's engines run on hopes and dreams and dev crunch and, I guess, creative solutions to basically patch over the fact that they don't know how to make, like, basic functionality. Vehicles, climbing ladders. Games have figured this stuff out a very long time ago. It's legitimately amazing that there's such a big name in gaming. And again, I think I've mentioned this before on Twitter or something. But if these solutions were the product of this scrappy, up-and-coming indie studio, it would be endearing, right? But a company that frequently puts out broken games, a company that botches even the collector items they include with their special editions, they seem to be able to screw up literally everything. It's nothing short of inspiring how successful a name they are in this industry, really, when you think about it. My point is, this whole thing about gamers not wanting that, like they conducted a poll to find this out. No, you guys just can't make it. Like, that's, no. Probably what happened is that somebody tried to make a ship take off from the planet, and the Xboxes they're using to test this thing melted to the floor, and then Todd Howard went like, they don't really want that, right? So when Todd Howard says, oh, actually, gamers don't want that, well, you know what, Todd? From looking at the comments from every gaming news site that published your comments on the matter, I would say a lot of people that seem to care about that. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they go back on it and implement it in some way if people raise enough of a stink. On the other hand, that's just me being very optimistic because Bethesda has gotten away with so much worse at this point that I think a lot of their fans just put up with that stuff like it's almost their brand. To make these janky, barely working games with broken-ass code, like, who cares at this point anymore, right? I know better to not get too excited for a game with lofty promises, and there's a lot about Starfield that gives me No Man's Sky flashbacks. So
it's easily our most ambitious game ever, where you get to be who you want and go where you want. Yes, you can fly it, but you can also land and explore anywhere on the planet. Over 1,000 planets.
This game will cure your depression, I swear to God.
I'll believe it when I see it. In the meantime, I guess, I can always play more No Man's Sky on my PS4. I haven't played it in a very long time, but I hear it's a massively improved game now, a completely different experience. Plus, it's coming out on the Switch this summer, so I'll be able to play it portably even. So maybe by the time Starfield comes out, I'm already so invested in my game in No Man's Sky that it's just going to make me save 80 bucks. And for that, I guess Hello Games deserves a thank you for me. In the end, Starfield works as kind of like a way to get the No Man's Sky player base involved back in the game, because I'm not the only one who's saying, hey, that looks cool. I don't think I trust Bethesda that much, but I'm really in the mood for, a space flying game. So maybe I'll try NMS again. So maybe I'll try No Man's Sky again. So, I don't even know what my point is with this. I just want to play No Man's Sky now. But that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. If you don't already follow me on social media, I'm very active over there, both on Twitter and Instagram. I've been streaming a lot on Twitch, but I've been mostly doing it for my Brazilian audience over on my other channel. I've been trying to think of a way to incorporate that here too. Maybe come up with a schedule where I stream in Portuguese at one time of the day, and then like a couple hours later I do an English stream. But these things can be a little taxing, so I'm still trying to work it out. My point is, I'm going to be streaming games at your face through the internet and hitting my microphone at some point soon. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, I'm Izzy and I'm done. Just dropped the goddamn iPad on my foot there. That sucked. Where was I?